Good morning. This is your much delayed board report for July 8th, 2015. Sorry for the delay. I was on annual leave. Don't want to rub it in, but I was out sailing with the family for a couple of weeks. It was a relatively short board meeting held here at ESD 113. The first order of business after the usual calling to order, flag salute, and consent agenda was recognition of exemplary work. This month we focused on Goal 1 and how our ESD has helped close the gap by providing outreach services to our most needy districts. Rich Staley was recognized by the board for his exemplary work in that area over this past year, working very closely with leadership at Lake Quinault, Taholah, and Hood Canal. Congratulations, Rich. Really appreciate all that you've done in that area. Sandy Nelson provided the Head Start report, and among a number of things, she shared that the federal government is looking at proposed rule changes which could significantly affect our Head Start program. It'll be probably 18 months before we really know what's coming, but one of those changes might be moving from a 3-hour day to a 6-hour day. We'll be tracking that very closely and watching to see how that's going to affect ESD 113 program service areas in early childhood. Also, the board asked that we provide some input to the U.S. Programs and federal staff with regard to our concerns about changing from a 3-hour service model to a 6-hour service model. A follow-on report to the board was provided with regard to changes in eligibility requirements for Head Start. Sandy Nelson and Lynn Flazik provided an overview to the board around program expectations and requirements for participation in Head Start. It was a brief training for the board and provided them some background information that will be helpful for us as we think about how we provide our services to young people in our region over the coming years. The board adjourned their public meeting for just a moment to a budget hearing where we went through the budget assumptions and parameters and policy implications, had a discussion, and asked for public comment. There was no public comment at the time, so we reconvened into the regular board meeting, and the board adopted our budget for the coming year through resolution. Our budget focuses on our strategic plan, and we're looking to close the gap by providing leadership support this coming year, continued outreach services, and some expanded services in terms of behavioral health support. In terms of growing our people, this next budget cycle reflects a 2% salary increase for all of our employees, although Head Start employees at the time of the budget adoption were still in negotiations, and we're hopeful that that would be resolved and possibly increased salary support for those staff beyond the 2% would be enacted. In terms of influencing change this coming year, we're going to be focusing on technology integration, support for classrooms, and communication services to our region. So our budget is a reflection of our strategic plan, closing the gap, growing our people, and influencing change. The board adopted our budget unanimously by resolution. Other action items in the board meeting included the second reading and approval of a revised policy as it relates to a drug-free workplace. We were working to clarify some of the language that was unclear about employee time outside of the regular workday. We feel that we've got that finally cleared up. Check with your supervisor if you have any questions with regard to that. Rick Anthony wasn't present at the board meeting. He's our representative to the Association of Educational Service Districts that held their annual meeting in Spokane just 2 weeks prior to our board meeting. On behalf of Rick, I provided a brief update to the board with regard to AESD accreditation services, which have grown quite dramatically over this last year. We have more schools involved than we thought we were going to, which is a great success for the Association of our ESDs. There's some proposed changes in terms of rules for the president-chair position for the AESD network. The Constitution is going to be reviewed to consider a 2-year term of office. Also, on behalf of Rick, I provided an update to the board with regard to legislative action. Just prior to the board meeting, Governor Inslee actually approved our budget for the state of Washington. It was very much delayed. The ESDs were essentially unchanged in terms of our funding, a nominal increase to math and science coordination, but other than that, ESD core funding is unchanged. Some action was, at the time of our board meeting, was still under consideration because the Senate had not fully enacted enacted changes necessary for class size reduction adjustment, and at the time of the board meeting there was roughly a $2 billion hole in our budget, at least the state budget. Thankfully not the ESDs, we're nowhere near that number. Under consideration was what was going to be happening with regard to high school assessments. Thankfully for us and our programs, the budget was resolved, and we're very pleased to announce that the collection of evidence will continue through this biennium, which is our alternative assessment support program, and it assists both our services in terms of how we occupy space here in our building, as well as the supports we provide to the entire state in terms of alternative assessment. So all in all, in terms of the ESD, a very good budget year, and we're thankful that the legislature concluded their activities, and we look forward to hearing how the courts are going to respond to the challenges of the McCleary decision. So more on that to follow. The board meeting was adjourned shortly after that, and we'll be convening our next board meeting August 19th. And because of a change of schedule, we are unable to meet here at the ESD building. We'll be meeting at Tumwater School District. So one of the things we'll be looking forward to at our next board meeting is a presentation by the new superintendent of Tumwater and his executive staff. Well, we'll have a chance to hear some of the things their district is focusing in on and how the ESD can be a better partner with them and our other school districts. I hope the month of July has been a great one for you, and you're looking forward to time with friends and family over the course of the rest of this summer. And here comes August very soon, and the return to school rush for all of us. Make it a great day.